In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your fuel pump on your Kia Soul. It's located under the rear seat. Just a heads up, a good thing to know is when you do pull the fuel pump fuse, you may trigger your engine light to go on. This is normal. If that happens to you, you're going to want to just delete the code, reset the engine light. You'll be all set to go. Remove your fuse box cover. Now we're going to go for this 15 amp fuse, and we're going to pull that out. That's the fuel pump fuse. So if you look at your cover, you're going to be right here, taking that one out. Now we're going to get in our vehicle. If it doesn't start, you're just going to crank it over a few times. If it does start and run for a little while, that's okay. Just let it run till it stops running. Now you want to crank it over a few times. Make sure the fuel's out. And now you want to disconnect your negative battery terminal. Using a 10mm socket, we're going to take off our negative battery terminal. Once it's loose, you can just wiggle it off and set it off to the side, not touching any metal. Start by picking up the back seat. Just popping it out of this clip here, and do the same on the other side. We're going to take out this back part, and then inside here is going to be a bolt that we're going to undo to get the back seat out. I'm going to fold down this seat. To do that, you're going to pull up on this lever here and fold it down. Now we're going to use a 12mm socket and take out the bolt in the center. Set that aside. Now we're going to take our back seat out. Flip the back of the seat back up. Now we can take our bottom part of the seat out. And set this off to the side. You're going to use a trim tool, and you're going to unstick this cover. This is the access hole to the fuel pump. Once you unstick that, you're going to push this grommet through and pull this down. And there's your fuel pump. You're going to want to clean off the area before you take out the fuel pump, because you don't want any debris going into the gas tank. So make sure you take your time doing that. You don't want to use a vacuum or anything with fuel. So just use a rag, clean it up. Sometimes you'll find an animal nest on top. So just clear out that. You're going to want to get your fuel pump ready before install, before taking out your old pump. You're going to take off these two caps. You just take them off, you pull them right off. You take off this bag around your float and this twisty tie and also this elastic, and that's going to allow this arm to fall down, and that's your float for your fuel pump. Once you're done doing that, you'll be ready to put in your new one. We're going to remove our connections here by pushing in on this tab and pulling this one out, and then we're going to push in on this tab and pull this out. Set it off to the side. Now your wires are out of the way, and we're going to remove our two fuel lines. We're going to squeeze in on these two tabs and pull out. I always find that it's a good idea to have some safety goggles on and cover things with a rag in case there's residual fuel. You don't want that in your face. And do the same with the other line. Using a 5/16 quick release tool, you're going to slide that in here to release this line. Slide it in, push in on the line. Once you're in, you can pull this off. It's a little tight squeeze to get it in there, but I'm sure you'll handle it. At this point, when you're ready to take it off, you can put your rag over it, but for video purposes, I'm going to show you how to do it without the rag. Once you hear that click, usually you're good, and then you can release the line. And the other one we've already started, so now we're just going to pull it off the rest of the way. And we'll leave it right there. Now we're going to remove these bolts using an 8mm socket and a 1/4 inch ratchet. I've already put some penetrating oil on there, so if yours is rusty, you're going to want to do the same. Once you get that last bolt out, you're going to notice that your fuel pump starts to pop up. That's all right, that's normal. So now we're going to pick up the fuel pump and take it out. Make a mental note of where it is positioned for your own brain, and also where the ring is on your fuel pump. There's 2 little ears here where this ring sits. You may have to take this ring off if you're having a hard time getting it out. Makes it a little easier. Set that off to the side. And now we're just going to pick this up. Make sure you have a drip pan inside the vehicle with you so that you can place your fuel pump in it and not make a mess. So watch out for that float, and also pour the rest of the gas out into the tank like this. Once that's done pouring out, you can set it off to the side. Make sure you inspect this gasket here. You want to make sure it's in good shape. If it isn't, you're going to replace that before installing your fuel pump. Ours looks good, so let's install the fuel pump. You're going to lead with the float first, which is this. Get that in first, and then ease the rest of the fuel pump in. You're going to guide this line into where it was. Make sure everything lines up. You're going to make sure your ring is clean, free of debris. And now you're going to slide it past here. Make sure you line this up with these 2 ears, which we talked about earlier. Otherwise it won't fit right. So there it is, and there this one is. Once you get it all seated in there, make sure your bolt holes line up and your lines line up. And now you can get one of your bolts started. I'm going to start with this one because it's easy to get to. I'm going to put one here, opposite diagonal. And one here. Once you get those 3 started, you can put the rest in. We're going to just finger tight all of these before we torque them down. As we snug these up, we're going to go from this bolt to this bolt, this bolt to this bolt, and so on and so forth. That way you tighten it down evenly, and then we'll torque them. Just about there. And I think we're ready to torque. We're going to torque these to 24 inch-pounds. Make sure you do it in the same way, where you go directly across from the other bolt. And now we're just going to check them all, make sure they're all torqued. Perfect. Now we're going to connect our fuel lines by pushing in and hearing that snap like that, knowing that that's on. Give it a good check. Snap this one. Good. And now we can plug in our connectors. The square one goes here. Again, hearing that snap. This one goes here. Hearing the snap. Make sure you clean up any mess that may be left behind. Just using a rag, drying it up if you spilled any gas anywhere. Otherwise it's going to smell like fuel for a while, and that's not safe either. So make sure you absorb any of that. Ours is mostly penetrating oil, so I'm getting that out. Now we're going to feed this grommet back through this cap, and then you're going to just push it in slightly, and it should pop back into where it belongs, like that. Make sure your arrow is pointing here, and you can push down to re-stick the tack. And now we can put our seat back on. Now we're going to put our back seat in. I'm going to feed it through. After you get your seat belts fed in, you're going to go underneath here and you're going to feel for your fasteners. So make sure you're lined up here. This guy fits into that spot right there. But before we snap that into place, we're going to pull this seat down and do our bolt in the back. Pull the handle, fold it down, flip this up, and you'll be able to see again where your bolt goes right here. Now we're in the back. I'm going to put our bolt in place. Try to get it started a little bit by hand. I'm going to use my 12mm. Tighten it up. Once you get it snug, we're going to torque it. We're going to torque this to 18 foot-pounds. Now we're going to go in the front, pick up this part of the seat, and you push down on these locking tabs. Make sure you're lined up still, and they should snap right in. Now we can put our trunk back together. Carpet side up for that. And if you have a liner, you can put that in as well. Put your 15 amp fuse back in the space for the fuel pump. And we're going to put our cover back on. Connect your negative battery terminal. Make sure you press it all the way in. And tighten it up with a 10mm socket. Once it's snug, check to make sure it doesn't wiggle. Now we're going to get in the car and prime the fuel pump. So we're going to turn the key on, shut it off, on. We're going to do this several times. After you do that about 3 or 4 times, you're going to want to try to start the vehicle. And there you go. If your car runs, you're good to go.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.